Hello, butterfly friends. Today we have 2-day-old baby monarchs. And as you see, I have them in these tiny little Rubbermaid containers. They are 1.3 cups, and they're small. They're fantastic. These guys, once they are born, love to take off. Out of these 8 that I brought in, I would say about 2 of them I had to rescue on the top of these little lids. But after, the first day, then, I give them a little fresh leaf that I keep in my greenhouse. I wrap the stem in moist paper towel, and they're good to go. And the first, I want to say, 4 or 5 days of raising is super easy. You just go in. Oops. And little Q-tippy, and brush off the frass or the poops. So this leaf is pretty good. There's nothing going on here. So I'll just put this here. And I'll just clean up the paper towel. I also check the number one issue I have raising inside is keeping these dry. If you have buildup condensation, it leads to bacteria and problems for your monarch. So, fresh little piece. And again, I've always said this, don't laugh, but I use organic paper towels. I get the Simply brand from Kroger. The reason why I love it, they don't tend to eat the paper towel, but just in case they do, it has no chemicals in it. I think I pay an extra, maybe 50 cents more for this roll. It lasts me forever. And I just feel like it's just my little investment to keep these guys as healthy as possible. I'm going to give a little squirt on the eye here. And this guy's good to go. I just went out to my greenhouse where I keep my food. Basically, I have a couple plants outside for egg laying. And then I have my food inside the greenhouse. My food, I try to keep away from any butterfly disease like OE or anything else that might land on it. And I just have a general easier, way of having food. If you do collect food that you have outside that is exposed to butterflies, maybe leaving OE if you're in the South, I highly recommend doing a bleach wash, which is what I've posted on my other videos. Okay, so this guy's good. And I had this guy was a day younger than the others. And so I had him all sealed up. They never go through that little hole, but you know what, with my luck. So now I just kind of leave this a little bit air open. He's good. And basically what I do, just because it turned into madness, I limit myself to 8, and I leave the others outside to do their nature thing. If you have a full-time job and you have kids, it is really hard to take care of these chubbies when they get really big. I do have my giant common outside, which is fantastic. I love it because the butterflies don't tend to lay eggs on it because the leaves are so thick. They're not the tender leaves that, the tropical gets. So this guy's done. Oh, no, I didn't clean him out. So yeah, I work at night, so I come home at midnight. The last thing I want to see are containers with no food. But my husband helps, and he likes to help me feed. His favorite part, obviously, is releasing. That's everyone's favorite part. Okay, I'm going to give this a little bit of water. It's right here. And not too much, just a little bit of poops. Clean that out. Put this guy back in here. Oops. Monarchs are really great. I do love raising giant swallowtails, but they really have their own timeline. I never know when, they're ready to make their purge. Never know when they're going to enclose. I mean, they just do their own thing. Monarchs are like my little army. They're very obedient. I know exactly when they're going to do stuff. Now, generally, if it's cold outside, and I'm talking like 60 degrees, I'm talking like freezing, and because I do put the chrysalises outside, I will notice that their enclosed time is longer than normal. So for the most part, these guys will be born within approximately 10 to 12 days. When it's chilly out, it tends to be, tends to take a little bit longer. They slow down just a little bit. And same thing with the caterpillars. The ones that I have outside right now, we've had a couple for here, very unusual cold overnights and mornings. And I say cold, I'm saying 50 degrees, not like Arctic. These guys will slow down. So I guarantee, so these guys, the ones that are outside, are probably a lot smaller than these guys, if you can believe it. But they're so cute. This guy's doing a good job chomping on this leaf. Okay. And then what I'll do is I have the Next Step container. It's really great. What I like about it is that it's about double the size of this, but it's double the depth. And so you could just leave the big chunky monkey in there. There's plenty of room for him. You put a big, huge, giant milkweed leaf in there, and they're good. The reason why I like these longer ones here, these bigger ones, is that sometimes I'll put a whole stem, and I might put like a little flower tube in there. This guy's taking a break. He ran out of food overnight, so I just cut him. He's eating from my lime, and believe it or not, that lime branch is rootstock. And if you guys know anything about rootstock, which is really fascinating because, these are things I've learned past couple of years. If your citrus dies over the winter, like my lime tree was not looking good. If you allow the rootstock to grow, now you're not going to get fruit. You might get fruit, but it might not be edible. It might be bitter or whatnot. The rootstock is fabulous for attracting babies. And if you don't mind keeping a plant that doesn't have fruit, you'll have food for caterpillars, free food. So that's what that guy's eating. Okay. Let's see, where'd this guy go? Oh, he's right there. And what I really like about these little individual containers, disease that I know, there's OE, which comes from the butterfly leaving the glitter on the leaves that the caterpillars will eat. I'm not really 100% sure about Black Death, but all I know is that it's very contagious. When you get a caterpillar Black Death, you gotta sanitize everything. Keeping these separate containers is really great because if one of them gets Black Death, I'm not gonna lose every single one. But I have this is my contraption for sterilizing everything. So in the top I keep water, below I keep my diluted bleach solution. And then here are my scissors and my tweezers for cutting leaves, moving guys around. And then what I do is I put in the bleach and then rinse the water and I put back here. And it keeps my tools nice and clean. I mean, the most important thing is start off with clean plants. If you can, get yourself a $100 greenhouse from Amazon. I have 2, and I keep all my food in there. Now, just because it's in the greenhouse doesn't mean not going to get attacked by something. So in my greenhouse, for example, you get lovely slugs in there. They'll start eating my plants, and aphids still get in there, and spider mites, which I can't stand. They will destroy, and it's happened to me, the entire greenhouse. So you got to be really careful. I go in there every day, and not only do I water, but I very careful. I check all the leaves. I get rid of all the yellow leaves. And yeah, I spray everything down really well. I went out yesterday and I had 2 plants with spider mites. Now, if you catch the spider mite problem early, you could just rinse the pot really well, because remember the spiders could be also on the pots. And if you do that, you can probably, bring the plant back. I've seen bad infestations, and the only thing you can do is cut all the leaves, maybe just keep the stems and hope for regrowth, water, clean off the pots, try to maybe take a little bit of the dirt out, and then put it in the sun and hope for the best. Aphids on a new plant will do some damage. Aphids on a large one, you might get a couple bad leaves on a large plant. Really shouldn't have a terrible infestation. But what I do with the aphids, I just go in there with my hose and I squish them all off. The plants that I have that are out for egg collecting have a few aphids, the ladybugs get at them and all the other beneficial bugs, they go to town. You could buy, and I've done this a couple of years, but I don't know, I don't really see the results that much, but you can go buy ladybugs off of Amazon for like $30 and release them in your greenhouse and let them go to town in there. But I don't know, I still had aphids. It's actually easier for me just to go in and hose it and squish them, and that's it. But I hope you enjoy watching a little video about the babies, and look at my other videos for other stages. Bye, friends.